Awesome. Terrific. Okay, everyone. Thank you again for coming to Revolutionary Resume Next Level. I am Johnette Ruffner-Caesar, one of your career counselors in CCAS Graduate Career Services. I am one of two members of the team. Aaron A. Hart is my teammate. Aaron, if you would like to introduce yourself, that would be great.
Sure. Can everyone hear me? I've been having trouble with my audio. Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Erin A. Hart. I'm the other career counselor here. So happy to be here, and you're all going to learn some amazing tips about taking your resumes to the next level.
Thank you, Aaron. So you all, in addition to being a CCS career counselor, I am also an entrepreneur. I have my own career services agency where I support mid to senior level career women by providing career coaching, resume strategy support, and professional development workshops like this one. I do the work here at GW because my interest really is helping students to bypass some of the barriers that several of my clients encounter. And my hope is that this session will do just that. In addition, my background, I'm also an adjunct professor. I have 16 plus years in higher ed administration and in the education nonprofit space. And my specialties related to professional development are professional branding, growth mindset, and career transitions. So what we are going to learn today is that resume writing is a two-part process. I also want to help to dispel some myths. I want to teach you how to create a meaningful career summary, support you with unpacking and maximizing your professional story, as well as analyzing and reviewing job announcements properly. Okay? All right. So, resume construction, as I mentioned, is a two-part process. And we primarily, usually in these types of trainings, focus on the fundamentals, the formatting, content, bullet points, font, and wordsmithing, making sure that it sounds great. But the other really important part of the resume writing process is your mindset. So think of your resume as a tool, and tools are only as good as one's ability to use them. So having the proper mindset is necessary to be able to not only construct your resume, but to also use it and communicate the content in it effectively in order to maximize your opportunities. So what you think about determines what you believe determines how you feel determines the decisions you will make, including how you construct your resume. Okay. So this is what you should have. This is, if you don't know what a solid resume format should look like, I encourage you to take a screenshot. This is an example of what a solid resume looks like, particularly for current students, or let me phrase it this way, for young professionals or someone that has 7 or less years of experience. It's a one-page document that covers your education, professional experience, any community or volunteer activities, or maybe even classroom projects that you've participated in to support you on your journey. So if you have a format like this, I want in this conversation to help you to take your resume to the next level. Okay, so let's start with some resume myths. Okay, some resume myths. Myth 1, the primary purpose of a resume is to obtain a job. I would counter that by saying resumes, the primary purpose of a resume is to obtain opportunity. It's not just to obtain a job. You could use your resume to think about starting a business, to establish a partnership, um, to any number of opportunities, and to just consider your resume to be a document to obtain a job, you would be underutilizing your document. Um, I like to say that resume writing, if you want to just narrow it down to a job, is not about job searching. It's about opportunity seeking. So that's myth number one. Myth number two, a resume is only used to highlight your experience and expertise. Well, I believe resumes should be used to highlight your professional value. And your professional value includes your experience and expertise. But unfortunately, sometimes we don't really know what our value consists of. And therefore, we don't treat our professional value in the way that we should. And so, again, a part of this conversation is to help you to unpack what your value is so that you can more effectively communicate what that is, not only verbally through interviews and networking opportunities, but also in your resume. Myth three, resumes are written to appeal to hiring managers. Well, that's partially true, but resumes should be written for you first. Why? Because you must know and understand and be excited about yourself before you can effectively promote yourself to a hiring manager, again, via a resume or an interview or any type of interaction, that you need to like it first before you appeal to a hiring manager. And myth number four, resume writing is horrible. Well, if you believe myth number four, it's probably because you also believed myths 1 through 3. And I invite you to reframe your thinking about resume writing, looking at the process as a key to gaining insights into your unique professional value and your ticket to gaining new and wonderful professional opportunities. Okay. So the reality or the truth about resume writing is that it's introspective. It's an opportunity to see your professional value and brand, and it's also an opportunity to communicate more effectively and to do it with confidence. When you're able to do these things, it enhances your abilities to move forward and to share essentially your brand because you've done the work to sit with yourself to identify, um, what do I bring to the table? How am I an asset to this, to whatever organization that you're looking to be a part of? So let's unpack professional value and professional brand. Professional value is consists of your gifts, talents, and expertise. Your professional brand is a distinct identity or reputation for yourself in your professional life. It involves expressing and communicating your skills, your personality, and values, and it helps you to stand out, to get noticed by potential employers, and be excited with yourself. This is professional optimism, right? About yourself and therefore increasing your ability to stand out among the crowd. Okay. I hope we're good and you're feeling that, digesting that. I would love it if in the chat you would put one of your biggest takeaways from the information that we have shared so far. And while you're doing that, we are going to move forward to how to create a meaningful career summary. Now, let me say this, that a career summary isn't a mandatory component, particularly if you are a uh, young professional, an early professional, and you don't have to include it. However, I want to show you how to do it in case you decide that this is a component that you want to add to your document. What I want you to know is that career summaries are designed to excite you and the reader. It is designed to prepare the reader to consume the meat of your resume. And I like to think about a career summary like an appetizer, like the little snack that you get before the main course of a meal. If the appetizer is wonderful, you're in full anticipation for the full meal, the entree. If the appetizer is not so great, you may not be looking forward to the entree. And so the same is true for um, your career summary. It helps to whet the appetite of the reader. The other thing that I want you to be aware of is that the career summary should not include information that's a typo there, that is not supported in the experience section of your resume. So for example, if you use a phrase like, and I hope you don't use this phrase because it's overused, um, results driven results. I mean, results driven, um, uh, just results driven. Okay. You can't say that you produce results if you don't talk about results in the meat of your resume. If you're putting that type of language or any fluffy language in your career summary that you can't back up, it's just fluff. You're not able to back up what you're saying. And I would suggest to you that hiring managers are, I mean, long ago were the days when I was a young professional where that type of where that type of thing was acceptable. But hiring managers are way more intentional, wanting to make sure everything aligns and that you can back up what you're saying. Okay. Just going to look at the chat really quick. Okay. So it looks like some of you, your slides are cut off. Is that right? Let me ask you this. Is your view interesting? Okay. Is your view, can you see me on the screen along with the slides, or are the slides, is it just one big slide?
We can see you and the slide on the screen together.
Okay. Got you. Uh, Let me try. I'm going to stop share. I just want everybody to see it. Okay. I'm going to stop share really quick, and I'm just going to change the view on this, on the presentation. Okay, what about now? Okay, great. Terrific. Okay. So let me give you an example of a week career summary. Okay. Of a week career summary. Aspiring marketing manager seeking a full-time position in my field where I can apply my knowledge and skills. Well, this career summary doesn't really tell us anything. It just tells me that you're looking to become a marketing manager, have no sense of your skills, no sense of your background whatsoever. And so if you provide or create a career summary like this, I would say just don't do it. You can use that space for something else, some other information. But here's how you can create a stronger career summary. Aspiring marketing manager with a strong background in project management, digital marketing, and content creation. Possesses a reputation for innovative and results-driven approaches to creating deeply compelling content, along with the ability to analyze market trends and execute campaigns that support business objectives. Way more detail. So you see here in red, I've highlighted this person's professional value, gifts, talents, expertise. In this case, expertise, project management, digital marketing, content creation. Their brand is that they're innovative and they have the ability to create deeply compelling content, right? Along with the ability to analyze market trends. So that gives the reader way more information about this individual, and it's definitely a better use of that space of where you would provide your career summary. Okay. Is everybody good? Can you give me a thumbs up as a reaction? Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so let's move a little further and talk about telling your professional story. And what I'm talking about here specifically is writing resume bullet points. So telling your story is important because people remember stories, not job duties. And what I mean is many times on resumes, we see what looks like folks who just copy and paste from a previous job or a job description. That's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for more depth. We also want to show the reader that you're a compelling candidate, and you want to give the reader an understanding again of your professional brand and unique value. Demonstrate your relevant skills, tasks, and actions that you've performed. And what this does, again, is it creates optimism to see yourself in this light and therefore transferring that optimism to whoever reads your particular document. The other thing, the way to kind of concretize this, if you've ever picked up listened to a particular song or just picked up a book maybe that you've never read before, those things give a certain vibe or feeling. Songs can make you cry, can make you excited, all sorts of things. It evokes all sorts of emotions. The same is true for your resume. If you're excited about you, you're going to write it in a way that's going to excite the reader. Okay. If you are in a place where you are unsure, are in a place of desperation where you're writing your resume, the reader can see that and feel that. So keep that in mind as you're constructing it. And I'll give you one other tip. One complete giveaway of someone who may not be in a great place, who's in a desperate situation for securing a role. One giveaway is that that person will usually include everything they've ever done in their resume. And it's clear they haven't taken the time to pause and to figure out what's important, what their professional value or brand is. And all of that requires introspection. Okay. Okay. So one of the ways that we create or tools that we create sound bullet points is using the STAR method. STAR stands for skills, tasks, actions, and results. And you can see here there are several questions for each category and some keywords that one can use to construct sound and powerful bullet points on your resume. So for skill, what skill or strength did you demonstrate? You can use words like organized, lead, created, built. Task, was there a specific task related to this position? Action, what actions did you take within a role? and results. As a result of your work, what changed? Another way to say this, or ask yourself these three questions. What did I do? How did I do it? And what were the results? What did I do? How did I do it? And what were the results? So if you take a look at this person, the information on the left side of your screen, this is a person who is taking some time to be introspective. And they're writing down as they're thinking about their professional value in their professional brand. And they're talking about one of their primary responsibilities as a marketing intern was to develop a content calendar for the company's new campaign to promote their website. So that sort of highlights a skill. Their goal was to create a long-term strategy as well as a 6-week content calendar with 8 to 10 weekly posts that could be used on social media. That's a task. After talking with their supervisor and the marketing specialist, they used tools such as Hootsuite and Buffer to schedule content and post from the creative team. That's an action. The result is by the end of their 8-week internship, they created a long-term strategy focused on creating website interaction and 6 weeks worth of creative content for the team to post. Okay? So this is what it looks like when the person decides, and there are multiple, there's no single best way to write bullet points, but here are 3 ways to use the information on the left to create sound and solid bullet points. They all include skill, task, excuse me, skill, task, action, and results. And I have the words developed, collected, and created highlighted because you always want to start those bullet points off with strong action verbs, okay? That demonstrate and and indicate that you are a leader. So the first one, develop. Develop what? An 8-week content calendar. For what purpose? Focus on the company's strategic social media plan. What was the result? Website traffic increased 12%. Your bullet points for your resume, to the extent possible, should consist of these components, making some very, very strong statements about your work. Now, you might say, Johnette, well, I don't know the result of my work. Well, what was the intended results of your work? And you may say, well, I don't know, a lot. I don't have a lot of these components. This is where you become more intentional in the work that you perform. So in the role that you're in now or in the role that you're pursuing, be very intentional about asking yourself, what are the skills I'm using to perform, to execute this role? What tasks am I performing to execute this role? What actions am I taking and what are the results? And asking the questions, well, what is the purpose of doing this work, right? Or what is the intended purpose, so that you have an understanding of what that is, and then you can take that information to create these very strong bullet points in your resume. Okay, everyone good? Great. Okay, so let's take this a step further. I want to support you with reviewing and analyzing job announcements. The reason this is important is because if you've ever searched for a job, you know that looking for a job can be a full-time job. And you want to be intentional about the roles that you pursue. And to be intentional, you need to understand how to read job announcements to determine if said opportunities are the right ones for you. Okay. So uh, when we analyze or review a job announcement, we want to look at it for key skills, tasks, and actions, meaning the skills, tasks, and actions for this role. Do you possess the needed skills in order to possess this particular opportunity? Let me say this. It doesn't have to be 100%, okay? There are, well, there are many people who believe they have to have 100% match before they pursue an opportunity. That's just not true. So pursue it. If it's something that you think you can do, would love to do, and you have some of the skills, yes, pursue the opportunity. Determine if you've used these skills or executed these tasks and actions, as I just mentioned. Identify related experiences. Maybe you haven't done them on a job, but maybe you perform these skills, tasks, and actions on a school project, participating in a club, volunteering, etc. And use some of the keywords from the job announcement in your resume. I wouldn't say be obsessed about it. There are some resumes that you can read, and it's clear that folks just were really diligent about making sure those keywords. But I think when you do that, it takes away some of the authenticity of your document. So be mindful about doing that. And as I said before, properly analyzing and reviewing a job announcement will help you to determine if the role is a good fit or not. Okay, so let's take a look at the Bates White Economic Consulting Firm. What I want you to see here are the words in bold: passionate problem solvers, clear communicators, strong principles, dynamic approaches. Well, that tells you a lot about this organization from the very beginning, and questions you would need to ask yourself. Am I a passionate problem solver? I also want to clue you into the word passionate. Many corporate organizations may not use a word like passionate. So I think it gives you some insight into how this organization operates, right? That they're not necessarily this sterile black and white organization, that they really like to dig deep and operate on a level, operate on a significant level. They're looking for clear communicators, folks with strong principles, okay? Bates and White specializes in providing advanced economic, financial, and econometric analysis to who? To law firms, companies, and government agencies. So between the things that are in bold and that very first line gives you a good idea, is this the type of organization that fits for me, that works for me? Okay. So really being very intentional about going through and highlighting these things to know before you dig deep into applying, is this the type of environment that is conducive to how you work and like to work? Okay. So moving further to look at the role that they're offering as a consultant, you'll see that I've highlighted some areas in red, and they relate to skills that this organization is looking for. Do you know how to develop, contribute, review, draft, process, all of those things? Those are good, strong verbs and skills. In blue, they are looking for they're looking for other components of your background, your specialized components of your background. Do you have a background in economic or financial analysis and reports, industry research, deposition testimony? Are you comfortable with processing large data sets, economic models, those sorts of things? So as you can see, as I have highlighted some things, I'm encouraging you to do the same as you are going through job announcements to see if it is a good fit for you. In yellow or gold, the employer through the job announcement is providing you with some additional clues about this opportunity. So they use words like rigorous. They believe in working in a collaborative, this is a collaborative environment, working closely with constituents, um, writing and research, critical thinking is involved. So again, are you interested in working in a collaborative environment? Does that work for you? Do you have the skill set to be in this environment? Is this the type of work that interests you and would support you with thriving in this particular organization? Okay. So you all, we have reviewed and discussed mindset. We've dispelled some myths. I have talked with you about how to create a solid career summary, how to unpack and create strong bullet points in your resume, and how to review and analyze job announcements to determine if they are in fact a good fit for you. And so what I would like to do now is to, well, I will in a second open the floor for questions, but I just want to thank you for participating. On the screen, you will see how to connect with Aaron and I both at CCAS_careers, or how you can contact me directly, and visit our web page as you see listed below. And for those of you who are interested in securing one-to-one career advising sessions with either Aaron or I, you can do that through Handshake, and you'll see our availability, and would be very happy to support you. So that concludes the formal part of our conversation. And I would like to open the floor for any questions or comments. And you can unmute yourself if you'd like to ask a question. And we also would love feedback. If this was helpful, if you learned something new, that would be terrific as well. Anyone can share.
I'll chime in. Yeah, so I'm a faculty member, and I think that like students sort of building awareness about what their skill sets are and being able to communicate it is well, identify them and then communicate it is a challenge. I'm just wondering if you guys have any tips or tricks or or ways that you might approach that sort of self-discovery process.
Sure. I think it's important to find a time. It's almost like if you were just create a reflective moment. So that could be with a cup of cocoa in your kitchen. It could be sitting by the water. It could be any of those things. And what that does, it helps create a creative environment, right? And in an environment where it's free of distractions. To I'm old school, so I like pen and paper, but I understand you want to use your computer, that's fine as well. Generate a list and have the list, ask yourself, what are my skills? And write down all of your skills. Don't think about a particular job or role, just write down all of your skills. And then the next category would be, what do I bring to every professional opportunity, be it an internship, And I will classify being in the classroom as a professional opportunity as well. How do I show up in the classroom, right? Am I a problem solver? Do I bring people together? Do I volunteer to be a leader for group projects? All of those things count. If you are not sure, then start to ask friends and colleagues, how do I show up in the world? What things do I do well? And write those things down. Now, the trick in how we bring mindset into this is people can say it to you, but do you believe it? That's a more, in some cases, a more difficult hurdle. And I just want to encourage you that if people are saying this about you, why would they lie? Just embrace it, write it down, own it. And so those are just three kind of quick ways, simple ways to just, I don't want to say just, but simple ways to slow down, focus on being introspective, and writing those things down. Erin, do you have any additional thoughts that you want to add and share?
Yeah, if I could add, Jonna, as you spoke about making a list of the skills that you have, I would also encourage anyone who's just starting out writing their resume, or if they have a more recent role that they haven't started to write bullet points with, if you could write and make a list of every single thing you did in that role, just shorthand before you even try to start to write some of these more elaborate, thought out bullet points, because I see a lot of people get writer's block and get tripped up with trying to incorporate all of these high level bullet point writing skills. And I think that can make the process not fun and really daunting and take a lot longer. So just start with writing down everything you did in that role and then try and piece it together after it's out of your brain and on paper.
Great.
And maybe do that for the classes you've taken also, right?
Right.
Think back and try to list out the skills from each one.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Erin, thank you. And Michael, thank you for asking that question. Wakana, thank you so much. And yes, we will share the slides. What is your opinion on using AI to assist with resume writing? Erin, do you want to take that?
Sure. So that's a very popular question and a great question to ask because next week we have a brand new workshop that we developed on February 5th at noon via Zoom, the same time. And it's all about effective job searching with ChatGPT. I am a supporter of using generative AI to speed up the process. Um, However, if you get a little too comfortable with using AI, then it can get you into trouble because people like me and Johnette, who have been on the hiring side before, who can tell whether people have used ChatGPT, that might be a turnoff to them. And so we want to talk about how to use ChatGPT in the most effective way that's going to help you with your job search, but not take away opportunities for hiring managers who are averse to using generative AI.
Yeah.
So.
If I could also add, so we have an internship opportunity in our office. And we saw a couple of applicants using the exact same phrasing. And it caused us to be like, so it may not always work out in your favor. So start out with your own ideas and maybe use AI to enhance possibly, but don't solely rely on that option.
Mhm.
Okay.
And Jonette and I can tell because we know we've been reviewing applications. So just like Jonette said, the phrase results driven is so overused in professional summaries. we know which phrases ChatGPT tends to throw in there. So the word streamlined is one of the most common words that ChatGPT will throw in a resume bullet point. So when I see that, that's an instant red flag. So if you're using ChatGPT and you don't know if the verbiage or the phrasing it's giving you is something it's giving to everyone who uses ChatGPT, come to us and we can try and help you decipher and rephrase so it's true to you and you're cutting out some of that commonly used verbiage.
Yeah. Roshni, thank you so much for that question. And Will, thank you. I'm glad the presentation is very helpful. Are there any other questions, comments, or feedback? We're also open to hearing how we can improve this presentation. So feel free to chime in on that as well.
I have a question that I'm going to
Yes.
thank you for organizing this. I thought it was really helpful the way you talked about how we should be thinking about approaching a resume. So I found that really insightful.
Great.
I'm a PhD student, so my question is more about how to transfer some of the skills that I've developed during my research career at GW for a industry job. So especially in terms of teaching or even research, how should I think about thinking about results? I think that's the part that's tripping me up the most is teaching a course, for instance, it's sort of hard to quantify results in any meaningful way. Should I base that off of evals I get for the course, or are there other things that I should be focusing on there?
Yeah. So results in that instance, first of all, um, don't be overwhelmed by providing results. There are some instances where you may not have the results, but you can share intended results. So results could look like if you taught a course, what's the purpose of the course? Designed to teach students X, Y, and Z. That's the result, right? You can also quantify how many students were in your class that you supported with this result. So those are ways that you can include that sort of information. In terms of transferable skills, I'm not saying that you can't do it yourself, but going through a job announcement and looking through, as we just did, what are they asking for? And then looking at your experience to say, okay, I may not have led a team in a professional environment, but I have led a group in a group project. What out of that group project could be applied to this particular opportunity and begin to draw those things out. So I like to say be entrepreneurial in your approach. Don't be so like it has to be exact. Be creative in how it's the same skill, just used in a different place. And that is also something that Aaron and I can support with in terms of helping to identify those transferable skills. Let me also say this, you all. Aaron and I are generalists, okay? We don't have the specificity related to your particular department. And so we not necessarily refer, but we partner with the DGSs in your department who are really instrumental with helping you to determine how your resume should be constructed for your industry or some skills that you should really be focused on for your particular industry. So in addition to talking to us, we encourage you to talk to your DGS or faculty members who are specialists in your particular industry. So just wanted to make you very aware of that, because some of you are in programs that are really very specialized and have a particular way of constructing resumes. Okay. Golnar asked, as students with little to no work experience, how does adding skills learned in university courses look like? Lovely question. Aligning classroom to your professional experience. Again, that is a good conversation to have one-to-one. But again, looking at the objectives of a course. Those are all good things that you could add in your resume. Looking at the projects that you have performed. What is the objective of the project? What were those projects designed to do to get you to learn? Because you're walking away from those experiences with some new and additional skills. And don't discount the ability to work in a group effectively, right? Don't discount your ability to be organized. Don't discount your ability to generate enthusiasm within a group. All of those things are great and powerful skills, but it does require some creativity and being able to look at it again of where we can support you. But look carefully, just like we look at a job announcement, look at your course syllabi to see if you can pull out some things that can be used on your resume to support you. Erin, any additional tips?
Sure. So you can add your classes, and maybe this was said already, you can add that class and that course in your experience section, and you can write bullet points for that course the same way that you would write them for any other job experience. So what Jeanette was saying about going back and looking at the projects, that's the how. So if you're trying to explain what you did, how you did it, and why, which would be the results, look at the how you gained those skills. Don't just write the skill down, but it's how you gained that through the course.
Great, thank you.
I have another question. I've heard quite a bit about companies using either machine learning or AI type systems to help filter resumes. I guess I'm wondering if there's specific advice for how to approach that in terms of either formatting or, I don't know, keyword use or something like that.
Yeah. So first of all, don't obsess about an applicant tracking system, ATS, being used. Don't obsess. And when I say obsessed, people will obsess over including as many keywords as they can. Do it to the point that it makes sense. Okay. Yes, keywords are important, but don't obsess over it. The other component to think about is I know everyone loves, even though these tracking systems are getting better, pretty resumes. And when I say pretty, it's all of the graphics and, the formatting. Well, some ATS systems don't like those graphics and it will scramble your document. So I say simplicity is better. As long as your resume is clear, can I read it? Is there spacing between each section of your resume? Do you have bullet points? Is your name and contact information bolded? Are the section labels bolded? All of those things are important for a hiring manager, because if they can't read it, they're not. They're just going to go on to the next. So make it easy. Don't make it difficult. And I will tell you personally, I am cautious of really pretty resumes. Why? Because it feels like you're trying to woo me with the graphics, but the content, there's not a lot of content. So just be mindful of that. But back specifically to ATS systems, a simple format like I showed you before is perfectly acceptable. Yes, keywords are important, but don't obsess. Erin, anything additional? Okay. Michael, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Great. Okay, you all, in the last 4 minutes, does anyone else have any questions or comments or suggestions for how we can improve this experience? Okay. Well, if there aren't any, please join us for, Erin, what is the title of our next session again?
Yes, effective job searching with ChatGPT. So the first part of the workshop will be how to job search, how to use job search engines effectively. And then the second part will be all about using ChatGPT to tailor your application materials, how to navigate using ATS systems, all that jazz.
Great, thank you. And Golner asked, how important is it to include references? I suggest, unless specifically required, do not include references until the employer requests them. It's okay to provide just your resume, again, unless it's specifically requested. There are some applications like federal government roles that will request references. So in that case, yes, provided, but on or in your resume, it's not necessary. Okay. All right. Perfect. Any other questions, comments, feedback? All right, you all. Well, thank you again. We appreciate you for being here. It looks like the information has been valuable. We look forward to seeing you for our next session and seeing you during one-to-one career advising sessions. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.